I'm putting it on. It's tinfoil hat time. Oh, sweet! A Schizo meltdown! Let me Schizo post for a little bit. I'm gonna go Schizo mode. This will either be a fiery hot shot in the dark, a crazy prediction, or one of many wrong predictions I've made over the years speculating video games. We're about to get a Mario Kart Direct tomorrow morning. I'm super late to just talking about Mario Kart World after the Switch 2 Direct. Tons of stuff was revealed about the game. I've been slow on the uptake, real-life shenanigans and responsibilities, prioritizing working and money, but really wanting to balance that with YouTube and fitness, / working out, / cardio. It's the usual, you know the story. But as far as just analyzing and discussing everything about Mario Kart World, between the Switch 2 Direct trailer and all the Treehouse gameplay showcases and some extra theories, I'm gonna basically wait a little bit longer and combine all of that with discussing and analyzing the new stuff to come out of this Mario Kart World Direct. Just a massive discussion and analysis, going over pretty much everything. I'll do what I do best and just rip this massive band-aid off really slowly and highlight every little pore and string of hair plucked from the bandage. But my compromise video, until then, it's a theory. It's not one I've crafted. I've been seeing this float around here and there. Someone else came up with the idea. I don't know if that many people are talking about it or put much stock into that much. At first I thought it was a kind of cool theory. Neat little food for thought, fun little imagination. But now I'm starting to gaslight myself into thinking, wait, low-key, they might be cooking. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. I'm not getting my hopes up that high to begin with regarding this. I'm definitely sure this new Mario Kart's gonna have another big thing about it we don't know about. It'll likely be fun, if not interesting. Tons about the game already. It looks super fun and engaging. The scope, the interconnected world, a knockout mode, the new mechanics, items, characters, costumes, the animations, the presentation, etc. Mario Kart World already looks phenomenal. But the theory I'm slowly coping more with is the idea that this massive open world, this explorative sandbox we have of Mario Kart World, might not be all there is to the game. It's something along the lines of the continent theory. The map we have and the tracks connected together, they're all just part of one continent. The map itself, it looks kinda similar in shape to the bottom continent of the logo for the game. So there's this idea that even with this large open world already, even with all these tracks and characters, there's potentially even more waiting in the wake beyond this map specifically. It sounds crazy. It definitely sounds like an insane crackpot theory, but even with my own judgment persuading me otherwise, I'm seeing a few puzzle pieces that are falling into place very snugly with this theory. On surface level, it obviously sounds insane to suspect beyond the 30-ish tracks we have an idea of, if not already seen, the giant land masses and scale a lot of these tracks have, the geometry surrounding these tracks, the amount of effort being put into the mechanics, the core gameplay, the new modes, the character animations and whatnot. They're just gonna pile on a couple more giant land masses with, let's say, like 10 to 20 extra tracks per continent. On what planet would even that be realistic? It's a true question. I can't help but wonder just what exactly would be so big enough to have another Nintendo Direct focus on the game itself 2 weeks after showing off so much about the game already. Like, we know of almost 32 tracks in the game as is. They showed off almost all of them. The map gives us a good idea of what other tracks there are that we didn't get to see. We know of pretty much a character roster matching Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's total roster, at least. These new and cool mechanics. On paper, it feels odd they would just save the Direct for effectively the Special Cup, the game's Rainbow Road, the Battle Mode online announcing DLC, and a few smaller tidbits, because what we know thus far about Mario Kart World isn't far out of the realm of this being over 80% of what makes up most Mario Karts prior. Whether it be missions for the free roam mode or a side mode like with Mario Kart DS's missions, an actual story mode, battle mode basically being the Fortnite equivalent for Mario Kart that'll span another massive sandbox, more collectibles beyond just coins, the costumes and whatnot, more within this singular sandbox itself that has way more to do, etc. All of that I would be very hype and excited for. It's obvious they're hiding something major about this game if they're trying to hype up another Nintendo Direct focusing on the game itself. If we know basically everything about the game, especially when we're still a month and a half out from the game launching, plus With the Grand Prix and Knockout mode seemingly taking the form of just driving past long straightaways and stretches of highway to get to the next track, but almost every track you reach, they're only one lap apiece, and then you move on to the next track. You're not even doing the standard Grand Prix structure of 3 laps in every course, as opposed to just one at the beginning, and then all single lap tracks mashed into one. The scope for the game's the biggest out of any Mario Kart in just the structure it has, but I can't help but feel it might not be that big if the bulk of the game is meant to largely drive past all these landmarks, courses, and terrains. Even if it'll be more interesting playing these modes and tracks in 150cc and primarily 200cc. That sounds like an experience that'll mostly be done in a matter of hours. You'll be able to see all the main tracks and whatnot in not a lot of time overall, so the marketing strat with what we know of in Mario Kart World, it's making me think a little bit. Nintendo's no stranger to just spoiling everything or showing off everything about a game right before release, so what we have now could very well be pretty much all we get, but their marketing strategies with their games in the mid or even early 2020s is significantly different from their strats from 2014. Nintendo's changed in many ways in over 10 years, and the way they market their games is definitely one of them. A big old direct, almost immediately after the information vomit we got about the game, obviously signifies something major's to be unveiled again about Mario Kart World. You don't just do a Nintendo Direct about any one or multiple games unless you have a lot of stuff to talk about. And showing off that, yes, this map isn't the only continent in the entire game would be very direct worthy, very strong, very exciting across the board, even in lieu of some questions and worries some people have with the game so far. The second puzzle piece as well is just the time gap between Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart World. Yeah, we had Tour, Live Home Circuit, and the Booster Course Pass in between, but Nintendo did get help with Bandai Namco, outside developers, as far as Tour and the Booster Course Pass is concerned. On top, it has been more than a whole decade since Mario Kart 8 dropped on Wii U. It got DLC and some brand new tracks going into 2015, but slight tweaks, a few more characters, and a new battle mode 2 years after that isn't a lot of development time compared to just a new Mario Kart in any way, shape, or form. Mario Kart Tour became a thing 2 years after 8 Deluxe, and yet the vast sum of its content is downscaled from Mario Kart 8. Assets, character models, textures, overall graphics, the bulk of the game's tracks were retro tracks, and then 3 years after that, 5 years after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe dropped, a batch of DLC doubling 8 Deluxe's track roster, comprised entirely of tracks that were downscaled and designed for their mobile game years prior. 8 Deluxe managed to have legs for so damn long, but a lot of Mario Kart development heavily centered around tweaking and repurposing stuff from Mario Kart 8 into itself and Tour for 11 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they were even conceptualizing what World wound up being by the mid-2010s. How polished the game looks would also explain why the Booster Course Pass, by comparison, looks as rushed as it did. The third puzzle piece as well, without rubbing salt in the wound too much, is the fact this is Nintendo's first $80 game. Nintendo's new strat with their game prices is pissing a lot of people off, myself included. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of it too much. I already made 2 videos about it, and I'm debating making another one. But this game being $80 pretty much inherently raises expectations and standards from every type of consumer. Yes, Nintendo usually knocks it out of the park with their first party titles 8 to 9 times out of 10, but almost all of them were $60 releases, and we all know Nintendo knows they're poking a sleeping bear, charging more for their first party titles on average with the Switch 2. But similarly with Tears of the Kingdom, that has to inherently imply there's gonna be more to these $70 and especially $80 video games than what you usually expect or get from them and from $60 games or cheaper. It's not even a thing from us who are grumpy about the increased price. Like, literally every type of person immediately expects more out of a certain brand's product when it's priced more at its base compared to every other brand's product that's cheaper yet similar. The new premium of premium pricing, pretty much. I think most are expecting, if not at least hoping and coping, Mario Kart World has to deliver on some bigger thing, some unexpected grand feature or concept that people wouldn't expect out of either Nintendo or the Mario Kart series that would be better at justifying the price increase to $80. That's the trade-off Nintendo's doing with their new pricing strategies. It's a normal evaluation and expectations consumers have with every type of product out there. I don't know if I want to say, oh, this game will be worth $80 or not if we do get it, or we do know the feature, whatever this new big thing is. Nintendo being the ones to open Pandora's box with $80 games still reaps negative consequences both specific to Nintendo themselves and will spread across the whole industry on several levels, but if Nintendo really wanted to justify $80 games, they're pretty much forced to increase their own standard of quality when it comes to making their games, which was already argued they've had a high standard of quality already. Pretty much always. Your 3D Marios, now your 2D Marios, your 3D Zeldas, your Metroids, your Kirby, Smash Brothers, Splatoon, Xenoblades, etc. But now the consumer and seller dynamic being a two-way street, it's being tested and asked with these price hikes, so now Nintendo has to sell their content and quality even harder than before. And with Bill Trinen and other spokespeople for the Switch 2 trying to ham up Mario Kart World as this super big and vast game filled with many little things to discover with more secrets remaining, that'll make Mario Kart World the richest Mario Kart experience, I genuinely feel like that would be the best way to sell it. Not even making multiple contents with 30 tracks each, like 5 to 15 or so. Mixing nitros and retros like some cups and portions of the game are already doing. Something along those lines, even at least as DLC, like Little Islands. That I think is the bare minimum we can all agree on, because we know this game's gonna get DLC. If it's paid, I don't know if now would be the best time to say so though. But I didn't believe it when fans theorized, oh, we could be getting an open world Mario Kart. I'm not about to make that same mistake twice. Either that, or I'm making a different mistake twice, considering even more under the hood. Like, with the tail end of the Booster Course Pass and how we got more characters that we were told they were expecting, and I'm like, guys, we might get a lot more characters. Let me at least huff my copium for the last 24 hours. Not even, like 17 hours. Game's gonna be 24 gigabytes too. It's way bigger than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's size, including the Booster Course Pass. Something big is on the way. We're getting something almost double in terms of size from how much storage 8 Deluxe took up. It's just a little food for thought. I say all this, but I'm not gonna lie. I was also expecting the Direct to be around like 20-25 minutes long. The Mario Kart World Direct's confirmed to be 15 minutes approximately. That's not a lot of time to go over something as big as that, I feel like. So low-key, now I'm starting to believe it less. We're probably gonna get underground something in terms of mechanics, maybe mission mode in like the free roam, probably something along those lines. They're gonna confirm DLC's a thing, it's gonna be paid, everyone's gonna be pissed all over again, but there might be something there that is really cool and innovative. Chat's disabled for the Direct live stream, which is hilarious. You know damn well Nintendo does not want to deal with that whole drop the price protest spam, so I'm not getting my hopes up after seeing those two little information tidbits now. To be fair too, the Mario Wonder Direct was around like 15 minutes. They'd have like a good chunk of new information still, so it's still probably gonna be something big. There's still probably gonna be a cool little surprise in there, probably. Could maybe happen, still. This is almost definitely gonna be like with Isle Delfino being in Mario Odyssey all over again though. But let me know if you're fully, partially, or even a tiny little fraction on the cope train or not in the comments. Let me know. We'll find out mad soon. We're gonna know not even 24 hours. We're gonna find out in like 17 or 16 hours. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Stay super.
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀！共和到哈哈呀，拉面，嘿，来面，来个面，共和再见呀！哈哈，拉面，烫手面，谢谢。